Steele, fire away.
Let's let the youngins go first.
Oh, this could be
Go
interesting.
first, man.
Go ahead.
So Tyler and Nickel talked about your kind of mentality going into kind of the pressing the message of validation. Can you go more into that notion?
About the
Pressing the message of validation. That's the kind of the message you've been giving your team these past couple of weeks. Can you go more into that?
well, I've been talking to the team about a number of stuff. I think the thing that I've talked about the most is what are we focusing on and talking about. I talked to you guys last year about turning down the noise from the phone, the family, and the friends, and I spoke that noise was coming from the direction of criticism. There's noise this year, but it's coming from the direction of praise. And so my message has been consistent with them. It's still noise. And one of the things that I talked to them about before the Johnson C. Smith game, I had spoken with somebody who is a pretty successful businessman. And he was asking me questions about the team, and I was talking about them, that the important thing for us is to focus on our preparation, our process, our practice. The play will take care of itself. And he says, wow, that's really interesting. It's very similar to what we were taught in business school. I said, what do you mean? And he says, in business school, they never talked about the profit. They always talked about doing the right things the right way. And if you do things the right things the right way, profit will ultimately come. And I shared it with the team. It really resonated with them before the game, and I really believe that. The consistent theme that I've been preaching to them is doing the right things the right way consistently. If we do that, at the end of the day, we'll be happy with the results.
Hubert, it's obviously a different day and age with players today in terms of staying patient and kind of believing in the process. DeMarco Dunn, after the exhibition game, was kind of talking about that for himself, just believing in the process, and that's why he wasn't even thinking about transferring or anything like that. Is that something that you can identify in a kid when you're out recruiting, like this kid might be true to the process, or is that something that's just, it's an individual thing and it might be innate in some and others kind of want to speed it up?
Well, I do think it's an individual thing. One of the things that I always tell the guys is that I'm a giving opportunity coach, not a giving playing time coach, in that your opportunity is going to come. One thing that I can't tell the guys is when it's going to come, where it's going to come, and the manner in which it's going to come, the day it's going to come, but they're going to get multiple opportunities to do everything that they want to do. The question on the floor is when that opportunity comes, and I stress when are you going to be ready? And it's your job to be ready when that opportunity comes, and DeMarco is an unbelievable example to that. He got an opportunity to start against Johnson C. Smith. He didn't know. And he took advantage of that opportunity, and the reason why he took advantage of it was because he was ready. And so that not just for DeMarco's, for all the guys. And but I do think it's individual based in terms of their timetable, but their timetable is their development. It's not my timetable, it's their timetable. And DeMarco's done a terrific job on improving from last year to this year, and I'm really excited about seeing him out there on the floor.
What are some of the things that he has improved?
Consistently in his jump shot, defensively, understanding that he can be an elite defender, playing at the type of pace and the type of level that you have to play with consistently on both ends. I think that's probably one of the things that's one of the biggest challenges coming from high school to playing at this level is the pace and the manner in which you have to play just to put yourself in a position to be successful. And those are just some things that I think DeMarco has improved on greatly from last year to this year, and it's just really nice to see.
A lot of guys, when they come in, they go through a period where they think they belong, and after a period of time, they know they belong. Has Dontrez and DeMarco gone through that?
I feel that way. Another thing that I always tell the guys is that, whether it's in high school, college or the NBA, you're always going to reach a level where everybody can do the same things that you can do. And so I know you were really, really athletic or you're really fast, but at some point you're going to reach a level that everyone is just as tall, just as athletic, just as skilled as you are. And so how are you going to differentiate yourself between that other player? And it's really the attention to details, it's your fundamentals, it's your commitment to how hard you're going to work. And so for the example of DeMarco and Dontrez, they're consistently working on their games before and after practice, but I would say that for every guy on the team, and that's something that I talk to them a lot about.
Hubert, you didn't have a couple guys the other night for the exhibition, obviously. It looks like they've been practicing.
Yes.
Do you consider yourself full strength as a team going into the opener, or some guys still a little bit away?
No, I don't consider us full strength. RJ, is doing great. He's been practicing the last couple of days. Justin McCoy's not sick anymore. He's been practicing the last couple of days. It'll be a game time decision in terms of Puff. But other than that, everybody else is healthy and ready to go. And so once Puff gets back in, we'll be at full strength.
Coach, first off, great to meet you. My name's Evan. I work with Spectrum News.
Nice
First
to meet
time
you.
coming to one of your press conferences.
Yeah.
The question is, your freshmen already know the importance of playing good defense. How important is that recruits are coming in, they already are buying into that part of the culture so that a year or two down the road, they're installing that into the next group of kids?
Well, you communicate that when you're recruiting them of their expectations and their job and their responsibilities when they come here, whether it's on the court, in the classroom, in the community. But you don't really know until you get here. High school defense is you're just playing defense when your guy gets the ball. You do that at this level, that guy's going to score every time. And so there's obviously individual defense, there's team defense. Probably the biggest thing, transition for any freshman is the need to communicate and talk on defense. And so, but our guys, Seth and Tyler and Jalen and Will, they have a great understanding how important it is, not only for them, but for our team success. And they're 100% bought in on being the best defensive team or best individual defender that they can be.
It seems like Seth really has bought into it, though, that he cares more about his defensive ability than his scoring ability, which kind of talks a lot about his maturity, it seems like. Are you impressed by that at all?
Well, I am impressed, but I wouldn't say that Seth, likes defense or pays attention to defense more than the other guys. I would not say that at all. I think all the freshmen, Tyler and Seth and Jalen and Will, have a commitment to be the best that they can be on the defensive end, but Seth is gifted on the ball. His athleticism, his strength, his ability to guard the ball one-on-one full court is rare, and it's something that I haven't seen since I've been here as a coach, whether it's been an assistant coach or head coach. And so from that standpoint, he's been gifted athletically that he can do more things. But in terms of level of commitment, it is all the same with all the freshmen.
We talk about the team a lot, handling that pressure of being number one, but as a coach, especially last year having the season you did, how do you handle that pressure and maybe some of the criticism or talks that you may hear about being in that number one position?
Yeah, I don't look at it as pressure. I just don't look at it that way. I don't understand what the pressure is of and where it's coming from. My job, I know exactly what my job is. My job is to help and encourage and to serve and to coach and to love and to help these kids be the best that they can be out there on the floor. Every day, that is my job. And it's not a pressure, I would say it's a 100% privilege to be in this position, to work with them every day and to have these shared experiences throughout the year and to have a front row seat to be able to do that on a daily basis. I don't look at it at all as a pressure. I look at it 100% as a privilege to be in this position.
Hubert, along those same lines, I was just thinking back to last year this time, and we were talking to you about replacing Roy and being a first-time head coach, and Like, now with all that's happened just in the last 12 months, like, how would you compare and contrast how going into this season feels for you just as a coach
Yeah.
compared to going into last year as a rookie head coach? Like,
Well, I don't see it as too much of a difference. I've only been a head coach for 1 year. And so I really feel like that I'm still, and for a long time, will be in a position of listening and learning. And I love being in that position. As I said before, I've been a head coach for 1 year, and there's a lot that I need to listen to. There's a lot that I still need to learn. And I love being in that position, and I'm enjoying it. You know, I feel the same way this year as I felt last year. I'm excited for this upcoming season. I'm excited for the experiences that we're gonna have this year, and I'm just in a good spot.
just to follow up on that, how do you listen and learn? Like, are there particular voices that you like to listen to? Like, just, are you always keeping your ears open? Like,
I am, and just relationships, like as I said before, like, you know, the foundation of this program is relationships, and I always talk to the guys that I cannot coach you unless I know you, and you can't play for me unless you know me, and so we've got to spend time together. And so listening and learning, like, even though we had 14 of the 17 guys returning, they're still a little bit different coming back this year. And then you add, you know, the 4 freshmen, and then you have Pete Nance, and you're developing relationships with them. And there's so much that I've learned in my relationships and communication with them, you know. And so you can listen and learn everywhere. You just have to be in a position and be willing to listen and be willing to learn. That's the hard part for some people. They don't want to listen, and they don't want to learn. I like listening, and I like learning before I like talking. And I think you can learn a lot if you just listen.
When you look back on last season and did whatever kind of self-evaluation you eventually did, were there a couple of things, and you're smiling, were there a couple of things that maybe you look back and said, you know what, I'm going to do this differently, I'm not going to do that anymore, either in your messaging, in the routine of the team, any small things that actually matter over the course of time?
Well, I mean, one of the small things, the first thing that came to my mind is in terms of, you know, having more depth. I've said a number of times I felt like, and nothing against Virginia Tech beat us. They were an unbelievable team and program, but I felt like our team was tired in the ACC tournament. Kansas was deserving of winning a national championship. They were better than us, but I felt like in that game, our lack of depth hurt us. And so going into the season, just the importance of having more depth is really huge for me. And getting more guys out there on the floor, and giving other guys more opportunities while they're out there on the floor, that's something that going into the season that I've thought about a lot.
Is there something too, if a guy gets a few minutes, maybe he becomes a better practice player because he gets to see on film some of the things that you're telling him in practice, but it kind of means a little bit more when they see it on game film?
Well, I don't know, not necessarily on game film. I just think anytime you step on the floor, you know, one of the things that I always tell the guys is stack plays, stack practices. You know, just stack plays, stack good practices. And if you continue to stack good plays and continue to stack good practices, that puts you in a position to have that type of confidence that you can consistently make good plays out there on the floor. And I've seen that with a number of guys with them stacking plays in practice, and I've seen it with guys stacking plays in games. And so I think that's the thing, is just consistently making good plays out there. That's the thing that's the determining factor for players gaining confidence being out there on the floor.
take 2 more.
Hubert, where would you say Jalen is in terms of being able to contribute because of that rehab process taking so long?
I don't know an exact timetable, but I know it's getting close. You know, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, he was cleared to do 5-on-5, and so I didn't want to go from 0 to 100, and so we've been easing him in terms of, you know, 5-on-5 live segments during practice, and every day and every week the load has gotten larger, and he's playing great. He really is. And not only is he an unbelievable player, just the type of person and character he brings to this team is unbelievable. I love him being here, and Again, I don't have a specific time, but it's coming soon where he'll be cleared to be out there on the floor all the time and in the game.
Hubert, just to add to what AJ, and you were talking to AJ about the depth, and that's, you said that's huge for you going into this year. Do you tell, I'm not saying you should, do you tell one of your assistants like, hey, hit me and make sure I get so-and-so in
Yes.
there? Like, I mean, is that a conversation you have with your coaches to make sure that you're utilizing what you have?
Yeah, I mean, we have ongoing conversations every day about, rotations and combinations to put out there on the floor. I tried different combinations in practice to see what it looks like. We did it in the exhibition game, we did it in the secret scrimmage, just to see which combinations work, which ones work well together. But that's something that I have a lot of communication with the assistant coaches about, whether it's practice, before practice, or before a game, about these are the guys that I want to get in the game. Help me get them in the game so that they can get an opportunity to be out there on the floor. It's really important to me.
Is there one, just to follow up, sorry, Chris, is there one guy on the staff that has that
Everybody.
responsibility more than others? Some people have a substitution coach, you know what I mean? Like, where they're like,
Yeah, Coach Guthridge, he had everything timed out in the first half. He had a time sheet where everybody, when they would come out, when they would go into the game. As a player, I didn't have enough confidence to ask him how did he do that and why he did that, and so I don't know how he did that. And so I'm not going to go that route, but I don't have a conversation with just one of the coaches. I like having that dialogue with all of them and get their input. And after they say what they want to say, then it's my job to make the decision. And so that's the difference between assistant coach and head coach. You can make suggestions and back up. As a head coach, you have to make decisions. And after I hear all the information, I think what I want to do, and I'll make a decision.
Decided this press conference is over.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.